Recently, I've been doing a bit of research into American TV programs for a writing module I'm taking, and I've noticed a common theme running through them. When it comes to some of the more popular shows of the past 15 years, shows like Sex and the City and Ally McBeal, they focus on women and their seemingly insane desire to find the man of their dreams. There is some kind of accepted view that women have to live up to certain expectations and have to meet certain life goals by a specific age. If they don't, they're considered to be a failure in the eyes of their peers and society as a whole. It seems only fitting then that when those women have a birthday approaching, they begin to panic and assess their lives, realizing that they haven't ticked off all of the boxes that they were supposed to have done by that point in their lives. Whether it's 25, 30, 35 or 40, the women always seem to think about their lives not in terms of what they've achieved, for example being highly successful or wealthy, but in terms of what they haven't achieved personally. They are told that by 30 or any other age you choose to pick, they should have met someone, they should have got married, settled down into a house, and had children. That is what is expected of them. The whole theory of expectations is always something that annoys the female characters. They don't understand why society views them the way it does, just because they haven't fulfilled their so-called role in life. Another thing I also noticed is that those same shows never focus on men, or the expectations that are placed on a young man's head. Personally, I think a man has far more weight to carry on his shoulders than any woman does in terms of what is expected of him. Women, for the most part, are seen as wives and mothers. The expectations on them are simply to marry and have children. For men, it's completely different. It's not so much an expectation as a requirement. It's mandatory for us to get married and have children, and I'll explain why. I'm only 21 years old at present, studying at an excellent university in the hope of building a career for myself in the world of writing. Yet when I meet people who haven't seen me in a while, the first thing they ask me is always the same. Are you seeing anyone at the moment? I'm never asked how my studies are going, if I've got a job or about anything else. It's always a question about my relationship status. I want to slap the people who ask those questions squarely in the face, telling them that I'm only young and that there's plenty of time for me to find a wife and start a family. But despite that, there is still some kind of urgency placed upon me to have that family. One of the main reasons, I think, is simply because of my name. With men, their life, at least in terms of their children, follows the same rules as the monarchy. Women don't have that problem. When a woman meets a man and gets married, it's almost guaranteed that she'll take her husband's name, and any children born within that marriage will carry the last name of their father. That's where the pressure lies with me. I am an only son to my parents. I have 3 sisters, but the one who is already married is no longer a Priestley. And should the other 2 get married, they will also change their surname. If there is any hope of the family name being carried on to another generation, it is through me having children, more specifically a son, who I can pass my family name to, and who will do the same some 20 plus years down the line with his own children. So having established that males are expected to find a wife, someone they will commit themselves to for the rest of their life, with my life seemingly only just beginning, that is a terrifying prospect, and with whom they will have children to carry on the family name, there also lies a greater expectation, which can be summed up in one word: breadwinner. Not only are men expected to get married and have children, but they are also expected to be the ones to provide for the whole family. Women can stay home and be full-time mothers, and it is seen as them doing their natural duty, all the while a man has to go out slaving away just to make enough money so that his wife and child can live that life. Now, before you jump to any conclusions and start throwing insults my way, I know that this world is changing, and most women do work now, sometimes in the place of the man. I'm not saying that I agree with the assumptions or really support them, but that doesn't change the fact that society generally still sees things that way. Men are expected to be able to provide for any wives and children they may have, just adding to the pressure already placed upon us, because now not only am I tasked with finding the perfect wife and starting a family, but I also have to establish a career prosperous enough to buy all the things needed: wedding and engagement rings, a house to live in, cars in which to ferry children to and from school. The list goes on. When you think about it, our lives haven't changed much in hundreds, maybe even thousands of years, in terms of the ideology bandied around for men and women. Society's views are still pretty medieval, and in a time when political correctness seems to be going overboard, pushing us further back toward the Dark Ages instead of taking us forward to a more enlightened time, the lines are perhaps drawn even clearer than they were just a few decades ago. That being said, looking back at the shows that I've mentioned and thinking about the young women I know, it seems that they place more importance on their personal life than they do their professional one, and yet most of them spend a lot more time working on their careers than they do on their relationships. Another interesting thing I've noticed quite recently is that when men and women are ridiculed for being single, as I currently am, the quasi-insults thrown around are totally different. If a woman is single, especially when she ages, people think she's sad or that she must be some kind of bitch for no one to want to be with her. The most common word used to describe single women is spinster. When it comes to men, there can be two different sides. The positive side of being a single man has you called a bachelor. People just see you as waiting in line for the right woman to come along. The slightly more negative side being that if a man is single for too long, whether that is between relationships or at all, he's not thought of as sad or lonely. People think he's gay. A woman who doesn't have a man is a sad, lonely, pathetic mess. A man who doesn't have a woman must not be trying or must not want a woman, and just doesn't admit it. It's a stupid view, I know, but one that seems to be becoming increasingly widespread. I even know some men who, to avoid the gay tag, will start a relationship with a girl they're not even particularly attracted to, just for the sake of keeping up appearances. That, I think, is the main point I'm trying to make. Our lives are generally shaped by how other people see us. They expect us to do certain things, act certain ways, and if we don't, then there must be something wrong. I'm a man. I have a penis. I'm expected to think with my penis, and not really care who I'm with, as long as the little general is getting some action. If I gave up university, got some girl pregnant and married her, I think my parents would probably be more proud than if I continue with my course, get a good degree and then go on to have an award-winning career as a writer. The world is messed up. I don't make the rules. I'm just expected to live by them. Maybe I'll find the girl of my dreams. Maybe I won't. Who's to say? The only thing I do know is that when it comes to my romantic life, what will be will be. I just have to let destiny take over and learn to enjoy the ride. And believe me, I intend to enjoy every second of what's to come.